sure. Please welcome my good friend, Mr. Mark Hamill.
Stay with me. I've never done this before. Joe, here's the second mic. Will's gonna stay with me. Hi, everybody.
Look who's come to trash the place.
Hey, you know, Spider-Man was on this morning, and I looked at my timer, Channel 11, 9 to 9:30. I mistakenly put it on Channel 13 and got a half-an-hour infomercial. That was the start of my day. Then they got a phone call, I got a phone call that said, your limo driver had a car accident. Really inspire confidence, you know,
But he's here, just
I wanted you to know that, you know, we were on time, and we're blaming it on the car. So this really is the first time I've done one of these, so you're going to have to help me through it here. What do? I love, you know, I never get tired of that story about Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, that's one of the best Alfred Hitchcocks ever. I remember watching this guy as a kid being so damn jealous. He was on all the shows. He was on
It's my turn now.
You're doing Bewitched and name them. How many genres?
Weren't you on Route 22, though, with my pal Dave Jolly?
Thanks a lot.
Yes, he was.
No, one of my first genre shows ever was there a weird echo? Should I?
No.
Talk real loud. It was Night Gallery. I played a bit part on Night Gallery. Me and the Monster both worked a half a day. Joel Grey was the star. I nearly forgot about that. I think I was flipping by on the Sci-Fi Channel and one of my kids said, "Hey Dad, you're on TV when you were a little boy."
How old were you when you did that?
I was like 20.
Do you have it on tape? Is it part of your collection? You don't have it on tape?
I don't have it on tape.
I got to tell you, Mark has about, 27 VCRs, and they're all on timers, and they're going constantly. And I'll call him up, and I'll go, "Hey, come on, let's go to Toys R Us and look for new Batman figures." He's like, no, I can't leave the OJ trial, or I can't leave Oprah. You know, the day his daughter Chelsea was born.
Please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case. Don't let anyone to communicate to you about the case.
The day his daughter Chelsea was born, my wife and I went to visit his family in the hospital, and this was a wonderful, joyous event. Chelsea was born, and he was like on the phone in a frenzy talking to a friend of his because he had forgotten to tape. It was like Donahue or something. It was like...
I think it was Sweeps Weeks, you know, it was like an in-depth look at the micro bikini.
Yeah,
so
that's well then. Of course.
So I had a good reason. Do you have questions? I was trying to think, it's terrible sometimes. First of all, you know, Bill has been on the Batman animated series, does lots of animation voices.
And we did the Flash together. We were both a Flash alumni.
You're Flashy. I've got this one.
Yeah, I almost wore that one today.
Oh yeah, we got to call.
That would have been cute.
Our clothes next time. But we must give just a moment's recognition to Fritz Freeling, who passed away Friday at age 89. Fritz was like one of the architects of the Warner Brothers animation unit, all those great Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. How many times have you seen Fritz Freeling's name go by? Yeah, I agree totally. Because I mean, there are just certain icons like that, you know, this year I got a call from my agent and he said, "Great news. What? You got nominated for an Annie." And, you know, actors, we don't care if it's like what it is. If it's an award, we'll take it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I said, "What are the Annies?" He said, "Oh, it's for animation." And I said, "Oh, it's for the Joker?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Great. Who am I up against?" And he said, "Well, let me see. Jeremy Irons for The Lion King." I said, "Thank you. Next." But in all fairness, Billy West was nominated. I mean, I know, everybody on the list is like, which one doesn't fit? You know, everybody was somebody spectacular. But it's such a great role, number one, and such great writing with Paul Dini and people like that. Are you all the people that were online over at my table? Oh, good. Because I looked out there and I said, "Where is everybody? Come on." So they went over and got them. That's great. Well, there's a question over here. This man in the Star Trek jacket, I saw your arm was up. Yeah, didn't you raise your hand?
You see, they all have questions.
We'll do math questions too. 7 times 8? 56. See, everybody's a director. Was that good for you? Oh, okay, smile in your direction. We just started, I've done a week now, and there's 6 more weeks of Wing Commander 4. In fact, this shirt, this is from the TCS Lexington. And these are also my boots that I'm working in because they killed. I mean, you get a new costume and your shoes. You know what it's like to wear a new pair of shoes. Your feet are all trying to adjust all week, and you get. Are you okay? It's not worth it.
Stunt checks.
Is Pamela Anderson going to be here today? Ouch, bad. I don't know. Any questions? Oh, there they are.
They're
Space shirt right over there.
questions. Okay. Speak into the microphone with your questions for Mr. Hamill, please.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say that you rule. And
That you rule.
Thank you very much. You rule too.
thank you. I've known you since Star Wars, obviously.
Right.
And I've also seen you like in Wing Commander 3, and then I noticed you did Full Throttle on animated
that's
shows.
right.
And Batman also. Rules.
Full Throttle, I did 3 voices in that. This was so great. It's like radio acting. You don't really have to look the part. I mean, the character, what's his name? Rip Burger.
Yeah.
And he looks like Sidney Greenstreet or something. He's like 6'4", the cane, the big daddy suit.
And I didn't even know you were in that at first.
What?
I didn't even know you were in that at first. But
I know. Well, I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers, and everybody called me when the Batman series came on. They said, "Did you get fired?" I said, "No, that's me." I said, "Oh, it sounds nothing like you." We're just checking it out because it does cut into Oprah.
But I heard that Batman was canceled in that cartoon show.
Yeah. Can you believe that? I mean, Batman was so well done, I thought.
Yeah.
We enjoyed doing it so much. And friends that are in animation said, "Oh, yeah, we did like 256 Ninja Turtles." How many did they do in that show? 256. So I thought we were in for a few years run. And usually you want to get out when the quality starts dropping down. You can't keep it up. But I just thought they'd hit their stride. And I'm not even talking exclusively about Joker episodes. I taped the whole series. I think it's really fantastic. He's got one coming on where it's the Terrible Trio. Remember those guys? The Shark and the
Fox and the Vulture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obscure villains for 400, Art?
But anyways, my question for you is what was it, the season finale of Sequest. I saw you were on it, and I saw.
I know. I watched The Simpsons. I do like Sequest, but they got mad at me because I called it Voyage to the Bottom of the Nielsen's. I said, "Oh, I'm kidding." It got picked up, You know what's funny? Roy Scheider is a nice man, and I liked working with him and everything. But there were no particular stories. I mean, he's just a gentleman, a consummate pro, and I asked him a lot about the movies that he's done, the French Connection, stuff I really like, but it wasn't until the 2nd episode where I saw him getting kind of fidgety on the set. So he starts looking at his watch and goes, "People, come on, Furman's on the stand." I went, "Oh man, a fellow trial-obsessed person." And we bonded completely over that. I said, "Did you see F. Lee Bailey doing Damage Control on Larry King? I got it on tape in my trailer." We got to be such good friends that at the wrap party, he was sitting there with his wife and Jonathan Brandis, and he was feeling kind of goofy. He goes, "Let's go on the Back to the Future ride." I said, "Oh, we got to do that." So here we are, all 4 of us, running full speed onto the Back to the Future line, and after it was over, I tried to convince him. I said, "Hey, Roy, let's go on the Jaws ride, because if you move kind of like this, they might think you're an audio animatronic." Really freak him out, but he didn't go for it.
So I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. I was just wondering, I really liked you and the Joker. I never would have guessed that it was you doing that for it. So I wanted to ask, are you planning, or have you already done any live action projects where you use a different sort of voice like that, or maybe a different look for you?
On stage in New York, I did room service, played the Sam Levine, Groucho Marx part. Now that was you saw a picture of me, you probably wouldn't recognize me, slick back hair and a thin mustache and pants up to here. I don't know, on most of the real character fun stuff I've been able to do has been on stage. I guess the closest thing would be the Trickster. And he's sort of a road company. Oh, you saw it? Oh, good. Because I like that. I had so much fun doing that show. And what was the line I really loved? To the Trickster Mobile. I just loved it because it was so Adam West. You know what I mean?
Didn't you think that was the hardest hours of any television show you've ever worked on, though?
Unbelievable. You don't start shooting until the sun goes down.
I had like an 11 o'clock start call one night.
PM.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
That crew and John. I mean, I really felt bad for John. That suit. You know what they do over the weekend? You just spray it with Lysol. And it was like wearing a sponge rubber sauna bath all around. It looked great, smelled horrible. And you know, really uncomfortable. And he works, I mean, I didn't know how that crew would go back the next week and be able to, because we at least were able to recover. No wonder they had to go away. All right?
Are any of your children going to be in show business?
Griffin, you're back there.
Griffin?
No, he doesn't want to. They want to know whether you're interested in being in show business. That was the answer.
Nathan will be a rock star.
Nathan, or Griffin, stick your head out the curtain. Nathan is a really good guitarist. He picked up this Traveling Wilburys guitar I ordered out of the Sears Roebuck catalog, just as like a memorabilia thing. See, I'm a collector too, you know.
No kidding, pal. This guy collects everything. Cereal boxes, comic books, action figures, TV books, records, TV guides.
Back to back with big red X's through some of because it had to be 1,000 to 2,500 words, and I'm thinking, oh man, how am I going to write 2,500 words about this, you know? And there's some sarcastic, good-natured sarcasm I think is fun. And there's a portion where I'm talking about how every time I think I've outgrown the character or given up the character of Batman, I keep falling under his bat spell. And then there's this long passage that goes, must see Batman forever, must purchase all related Bat merchandise, must purchase pre-sweetened cereal with those chalky marshmallow bits in the shape of a bat signal. You know, that kind of stuff. And they said, but they always wait like 2 weeks before it's due.
Excuse me, sir.
So if you
Can you
wait
cap
till the
that
deadline,
video
they can't
camera?
really do too much because they started
Can you cap
Xing
the
out all
video
the stuff
camera?
they hated. It was,
Enjoy all your Star Trek movies, but when I was watching...
I enjoy all my Star Trek movies too. It's some of the best stuff I've ever done. You know, it was really an accomplished stage actor with a really beautiful, trained voice, legitimate voice. So I really met him through the New York musical theater. And then what do you know, when he got Star Trek, I said, you wait, you're going to be a sleeping bag, you're going to be a box of cereal, you'll be on socks, underoos, make up your own jokes. Does that answer your question?
What I meant was, I didn't know that you were the Hobgoblin on the Spider-Man show, because I was trying to figure out what you were.
Did you watch it? Today you saw it. You heard my story, didn't you? How I mistakenly put on Channel 13 about a half-an-hour infomercial. So that's part one, but not part two. Did I win?
I don't know.
No, I come back with, who is it? The X-Men. I was really excited, you know, my kids, I said, oh, you know, they said, get the X-Men's autograph. So I went in, and they're all Canadian. So they weren't there. I remember the first time Joker teamed up with Catwoman, and I was really excited, you know, it's Adrienne Barbeau. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought she'd wear her costume to work. And she did her part from a hotel room in Toronto. I guess now they can patch you in through satellite and get studio quality recordings. You know, but it was kind of disappointing. I have notes here. What was I going to tell you? Oh, yeah. they did a parody of comic book inspired animation on Garfield called Clash of the Titans. And I just saw it because it was on today. That one I did get the timer right on. And my characters were, well, one was, they just told me, this guy who does Garfield, he has network approval. He doesn't have to put it through standards and practices, which is very unusual. Usually you have to submit everything to standards and practices, and there's like a guidelines of what you can and cannot do. You can't put children in jeopardy, or you can't show people using drugs. Get this strange one, you can't have handguns on Batman, the animated series, but you can have machine guns. Joker, it looks great. And I said, why that and not handguns? Well, because handguns children could get their hands on, and a machine gun they couldn't. That's their thinking. One line I love that Harley Quinn said that they changed. Since it's all the time, you like Harley Quinn? Is she great? Isn't she great? Arlene Sorkin doing a sort of spin on Judy Holliday, but in, I think it was The Laughing Fish, well, it became like a running gag. Whenever Joker goes up above the first story of any building or amusement park ride, you pretty much know that episode's only got a minute and a half left. I said, why is he doing this? He always flees up to the 22nd floor, like he never learns. But in this one, we go out the window into the water. Laughing Fish was actually based on a real comic book story. And the line that they had to change, and I think it's so innocent, it's so funny. Is it Harvey Bullock? Played by Bob Costanza, that wonderful actor that was an NYPD Blue pilot, that had his toupee ripped off. He plays Bullock. And he comes up to arrest Harley and says, why you want to hang around with a lowlife like him? He's this psychomaniac. And she says, yeah, but he did things with a whoopee cushion you wouldn't believe. I thought that is talk about in the eye of the beholder. That's a perfectly innocuous line that you have to think about real hard to get a dirty kind of spin on it. You know what I mean? What's that? Some people don't.
Can I come up and apologize for that mistake?
Oh, don't worry about it. You know what happens if you get recognized a lot? People talk about you 5 feet away like you can't hear them in airports. No, I'm telling you, Marge, that's not the guy with the pointy ears. It's the kid from Lassie. You know, and you're standing there like you're in the zoo. So I think, if you're going to talk to me like that, throw me some peanuts or something. Oh, I want to tell you about these two characters. They came in and one was like a takeoff on Wolverine. You know what I mean? So he had to be real brooding. So what was it? He was Mesmer of the Power Squad with atomic-powered eyes. And the other guy was Curdman with the power over all things dairy. Of course, all the other people in the Power Squad snicker. All the good superpowers were taken. I finally got to do, it seems like every actor, I'm sure Bill does a really credible Bela Lugosi. Miguel does, everybody does. It's like trained bears do Ed Sullivan. And, but I got to do, it's going to be on the Cartoon Network for Hanna-Barbera. They're going back and doing these like 5 to 7 minute shorts, which is pretty, I think a great idea, because it's getting back to what the theatrical cartoons were all about. And it's called Nina and the Count. And it's about Igor there's this administrative error, and he sends Dracula to the wrong house. And so instead of this voluptuous 17-year-old girl, it's a little 2.5-year-old toddler that just dominates him completely, makes him have tea parties and puppet shows. He's looking at his watch, dawn almost. But I finally got to know that voice. Yes?
I was wondering, are you involved with making of the new Star Wars movies besides a cameo in the 9th movie? Are you involved at all? Consulted?
I was doing Village of the Damned around October of last year, and I went over to see George, and I was totally surprised that they're going to re-release the first one. I thought, I don't get it. I really don't get it, because I, like everybody else, am anxious to see the new ones. But no, it's always been this way. Once you've seen her 4, 5, and 6, so there's bookends. The first 3 are like 30 years before. I don't think any of the characters are the same, except for possibly the droids, because they don't age and don't have like annoying agents that renegotiate contracts.
Okay,
I have been told to tell you that we have time for one more question. You're kidding.
See, I think this is a much better. I'd much rather do this than sign pictures, believe me. But go ahead.
Last thing, how is working with George Lucas?
What about him?
How is it to work with him? How is he to be directed by him and to work on his film?
He's a real film school guy, you know. I mean, he only comes alive in the editing room, sweet as can be, but like real do it again, but like this time do it better. That kind of. I mean, he's telling that to Sir Alec Guinness. But then he really comes alive in the editing room. He doesn't like directing. That's why he quit. He wouldn't even say action. He'd poke somebody, and the other person would go, action! Oh, look, I'm losing the whole crowd. Something I said? No, George is great. Yes. Oh, my pleasure. It's the first one I've ever been to. Listen, we're getting sent off. I'll answer all your questions if you come to. You can't answer any more questions? Okay, one more question. Somebody real quick.
Hey, Mark.
Yes?
OJ, guilty or innocent?
Please don't discuss the case. Don't form any opinions about the case until the matter has been submitted to you. That's what I'm going to do.
And I hope to see you all later. I hope. Bye. Come on, let's do it, Mark Hamill. Let's go! Mark Hamill, let's go, baby! Come on, give it up for him! Rock and roll!
You knew that.
Are you Acetone, one thing about it is really oral. That's where you're going. How's that looking? Good. You get?
How about this? After we get all of this stuff, pull everybody to the side. So run up there. Don't just stand there. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be great. Thanks for taking it out. Michael. Another Michael. Okay. Say again.
So is this where's the end of the hall?
Well, I would say, I have not seen any of these movies since the year they were released in theaters. Never seen them in theaters. And George even will say to me, like outside of the canteen where the dewbacks are. Dewbacks? Because, those lizards at the... Oh, is that what they were called? I'm sorry. I don't want to disappoint you, but... Thank you. On the back? There you go, Allison. You're welcome. Well, I don't know. They've stopped. I don't know if you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna write in and complain about repeating.
How did you get into doing that?
Huh?
How did you get into doing those voices?
Actually, it was funny. I went in with my writing partner. We wrote this comic book called The Black Pearl that's coming out next year from Dark Horse.
Oh, no,
So I wanted to write a Batman. And the writing assignments were all taken, and they asked me if I'd do a voice on the Mr. Freeze, which I did. Kind of a Phil Hartman voice. Bruce Wayne, nice to see you. And then I auditioned for Joker. They didn't give me that. I went up against hundreds of people for that, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to get this, so I didn't even worry about it. So look what happened. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, how are you?
For VICKI. I just can't believe how patient you guys are. Are you coming tomorrow or not? Oh, you are. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you. Oh, yeah. What's this? Is that yours?
Yeah. We just did it while we were in line.
You're kidding.
That's not bad.
How long you been in line?
You want my 4 hours. You want my address, all the pictures. I'm doing stuff for David Prowse right now.
Are you
So
really?
whatever
Well,
you
here,
want.
let me write this. Who should I put this?
Just put your name on here.
For no one.
Yeah, just put your Josh.
For Josh. So you...
Just did it while we were in
Well,
line.
when I was little, I
Do it
think
right now?
you and Darth
before we
Vader.
were in line, just now. When we were
Oh,
Kind of
yeah.
started off, and now it's totally.
And what are you, like 25
I'm
now?
only 19.
Oh, yeah.
Pen?
Two and
Pen.
stuff.
Oh, no, we just did it, you put it down on the ground.
You're too late for that.
Right on the cement.
I'm just younger.
Uh-huh. Okay.
We did it off of the,
There you go.
off of this. Yeah, yeah.
You want me to leave my restroom thing? You want pictures done?
Well, I don't know if I want pictures done, but I
Yes, sir.
Right? My pleasure. Okay, here's another one I've never seen.
I got it, and I think I got you in the frame too. So. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that.
I was doing
Had lots of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna come out next year from Dark Horse. Is it Richard? It's called Black Pearl, and it'll come out probably next summer. You'd have to say there's no fantasy in it. It's a crime thriller, but trouble is when you try and sell it as black comedy in Hollywood anyway, they just get real cross-eyed, you know? Who's this for? Julie. L-I-E. You know what I mean? They hate the word satire
Richard.
in Hollywood. It's called a tabloid thriller, and it's about an
Richard.
out-of-control
Richard.
TV show that turns
for you?
a guy into an overnight media sensation, and then him trying to sustain it. It's about fame, celebrity. Not so much, but I mean, the reason none of the major studios have bought it, I think it's not totally non-formula, and it's not like anything you've seen before. So Dark Horse is very independent, and I don't think it should be made for a major studio film. I think it should be an independent film. It's like, you can imagine why they turned down Pulp Fiction at all the major studios. You guys get Comedy Central? Do you ever see that show, Absolutely Fabulous?
Yeah.
Can you imagine going in and pitching that? Well, it's about two women in their late 40s. Stop! They would.
They're bringing an American version of that.
Yes, they are.
I heard that Carrie Fisher.
She is.
Yeah.
T-O-N-Y? Okay.
Really?
Yes. But that could either be tremendously successful, like All in the Family coming off Till Death Us Do Part, or it can turn out the way Fawlty Towers was with Beatrice Arthur. Hello? No, I think it's brilliant, that show. Absolutely fabulous. I mean, you can't improve on it. The best chance Carrie will have is if it catches on with people who've never seen the good one. I mean, you know, the classic one. Not that hers won't be. Chris, CH?
Yes.
Oh, I'm starting the print. That must mean something.
Means you're almost done.
All right. My pleasure. All right. Aloha. That's the proper name.
Richard.
Are there any future collaborations with George in the future?
There could be. I don't think Black Pearl's really his cup of tea, but I'm writing something called Baby Love you might like better. And Act Like Nothing Happened, which is a comedy.
Okay.
What?
You said that. I thought, okay, I want to tell him that you said it.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
well,
you
now
talk
I'm
to George,
thinking of it. I've got to register the title Act Like Nothing Happened. So get that off.
You're not going to play Anakin in the prequels?
Not that I know of, but I mean, you know, who said that? I think that, I don't know how that got started.
Don't you think that'd be perfect?
Well, I don't know. It might be gimmicky. I don't know. Do you think people would like it, or would it be confusing?
It'd be too gimmicky.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Depends how they wrote the character.
Change my standards.
Should I count to 3? 1, 3.